daily trading recap here for this Wednesday, the 4th of May, 2022. No equity trades for me on the day, still pounding hard on these futures side of things on the S&P 500, ES, and MES side of it, as I'm just really not needing to trade on the equity side and not seeing anything that's just blowing my socks off that needs me involved. And I think it's just so freeing of not having to just come to the markets being so like chained and handcuffed to thinking that I have to trade it because it's the first day gappers. It's moving big on the mover scanner. It's got the dollar volume. It's got the liquidity. It's obviously that I have to be trading it. And how freeing it is for me to just be able to say, like, no, I don't have to trade it. It's like these patterns that I've been trying to just slam my head against and continue to insanely believe that me doing the exact same thing is going to produce a different result. It's just not happening. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to try and clean my palette, clean my perspective, and say, okay, wow, I can actually identify a pattern here. Let's go ahead and trade off of that, because I wasn't doing that before. I was just kind of, I know I've said this in past little daily trading recaps, but to say it again, I've just been kind of piggybacking off of what I've stolen of other people's patterns, of whether it's the dip and rip or whether it's the first green day gap or gap and go, blah, blah, blah. Take your pick of any type of big mover trade that way, but it's never been my own, and I've never had that deep, in-depth knowledge of why it actually works the way it works. I've just kind of modeled what looks to be similar charts of how those similar charts looked back then, of when they did exactly what those people thought they were going to do, but I never really understood behind the curtain of why they actually worked. And that misstep has caused me to just continue to try and push this cartridge into this chamber over and over again, but it doesn't fit. It's a square peg in a round hole, and it just doesn't work for my personality because I don't understand it. It's just kind of like I'm using somebody else's methodology, and that's just not me. It's not going to work out for the long-term success as a trader in my career, and I know it's just got to be me 100% all the way. It has to be like I have to be willing, of course, to let it go when I can see, oh, shoot, yeah. Now, in hindsight, I can obviously recognize that pattern. I could see how they made that money. Or I just have to be willing to understand, too, like there are a million ways to make money in the stock market. Somebody could look at my P&L today and say the exact same thing of like, what kind of stupidity, and like, especially for my 930 strategy that I'll mention in a little bit of. But like, how the heck did you get there, and what did you do to get to this point? How could you do blah, 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 of any type of facet you could, like, I feel like that's every trader, of looking at every single other trader's P&L. It's like, okay, well, you did that, you made money, sure, but it's just like, yeah, I wouldn't do that, or just that doesn't look good. And detaching myself from that mentality too, and just getting back to the fundamentals of how we're here to make money. That is it at the end of the day. It's not about pretty or pristine patterns, or I mean, even coming down boringly to it's not about following your rule set. It's not about, just cutting losses quickly. All these things that are great parameters to set for yourself to be a solid and consistent trader. But I mean, there's just all times of it's about making money. And the more you don't lose money, the more you do make money, you're obviously going to have more P&L to come home with at the end of the day. And that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to look pristine on a pretty chart in a review on a daily trading recap. I'm here to make money and not have to do this anymore. That's the whole reason I'm here for this. So constantly reflecting upon that and understanding that as the goal, and not just, again, like I'm going to mention a little bit of this journal note of slowing myself down, especially as we're getting to more of the summer months, of not trying to force trades or just thinking that, okay, well, this is my occupation, so I have to be here at least pushing buttons or doing something throughout the day. That's not who I am. That's not what I'm doing. Like if I make $100,000 on one trade, how much easier for me for this position that I'm in right now, for my financial situation, whatever. Why would I need to trade anything else the entire rest of the year? That one trade, in hindsight, can be my entire year. I don't need to force anything else, and that's how I should look at everything. It's not about somehow, some way making a consistent salary, hourly wage income that every week I can pull out X amount. That's not trading whatsoever, and that shouldn't be how I look at it, of trying to get the same amount of opportunity every single day, because that would be forcing something on the market that the market doesn't care what I want out of it. It will just do what it wants to do, and I'm here to scalp anything off of and pick up the little nickels that it's dropping behind itself and before that steamroller runs over me, right? And that's all I can be looking at it as. Yeah, that mentality definitely got me some deep holes and just continued to demoralize me. One of the other traders in the Jack Schreier, the most recent Unknown Market Wizards, talked about that too. He always traveled during the summer, and how much more invigorated did he feel coming back to the markets after that summer break, when everybody else was still just bashing their heads against the screens and demoralizing themselves from that over trading. how much more ready was he able to attack the charts with that fresh, clean palette and more energized perspective. To be able to take a few little losses here and there to get started, but to be ready to attack when that opportunity did present itself out of those summer months. So that's definitely the mentality I'm going to be keeping with this May, June, July, maybe even a little August type of trading sentiment. Market overall day today, we had Jerome Powell talking today, and market obviously liked it with a 3% day in the green. Absolutely crazy, coming off a little bounce here after that 410-ish low break that happened on the second there, the first trading day of May. I'll mention some little dollar volume here quick first as well. NASDAQ $321 billion volume as of 3 hours and 33 minutes after the close. NYSE $424 billion volume. OTC's $1.5 billion volume on the day. To Christ be the glory in all of it. Future strategy working out well for the little ES1 contract step that I was trying to take at that session close there, opening, finding profit target there, and then also playing another one on the MES side just as a small little teaser because it's showing some possibility or overall in-depth probability of the trade working out over that longer term perspective as well of for at least the most recent price action as well, and for the potential bear market we're sizing into of a far larger profit target to the downside of playing a short contract that way. So that ended up working out in the morning as well, hitting that profit target there before it just immediately started spiking, going crazy, closing right near the highs about just under 430 there before closing at that. So yeah, 930 strategy, definitely one experience to keep for the journal notes and keep as a reminder for how far I've come in my trading career and how to apply this to future trades onward. This 930 strategy, it looks to get in right at that open there and play for however many points I decide or what the data suggests. And because I just do feel there is consistency in the volatility right within that first 15, 30 minutes of market open, that it's usually never, of course, it's always loose. There's nothing purely 100% true. It's always just kind of a scientific, same thing with science. Nothing is ever 100% proven in science. It's always just radically confirmed with great authority, but never fully proven. There's nothing ever proven in science, right? It's always just kind of, this is our best hypothesis and suggestion to this fact or thesis at this point. So the same thing with SPY. As the market is just continuing to find itself with that influx of volume coming in for market open, it's usually never a hard defined trend happening exactly from the get-go, that there is just no opportunity around that open price whatsoever. Of course, famous last words in that, and that's just what I always have to keep and hold myself accountable for, waiting for that one day that it does happen, that I don't get so over leveraged, because I can end my account with one trade, but I can't make my entire account or financial future with one trade. So it's not just about like, oh, how much margin can I take on this one trade, but like, oh, how many points of unrealized P&L can I take on this trade to be able to sustain for potential trades like this to come out. So of course it starts pulling off pretty hard in the morning there, 5 candles in a row being red, and then finds a little bit of a base, but looks kind of fakey, outish, big wickies, not so much volume coming in, looking like it's supporting there, but slowly starts crawling back to VWAP, and then more fake out candles, more wickiness. The tick, the entire little morning session here, was holding 0 for a long time, showing that, like, okay, it's not really suggesting we are having a lot of buying pressure coming in or selling pressure. It's just kind of, we're trading, and it's not suggesting, it's still in no man's land of where we're meant to go here. But sure enough, it's for what the action was on the index, it's down a little bit from VWAP, and VWAP's clinging to it pretty nicely, which does give me a little bit concerned for if it doesn't show any amount of strength or signs of recovery to get back to above where our entry price is for those potential exits on those ES contracts. But sure enough, days like this, I think I did it one in the past too, of when we get that dip, it's factoring in that P&L. It's not something I do mathematically of like, oh, okay, I'm willing to accept this risk if I add another contract here at this little dip. But seeing it pull back and thinking, okay, with these contracts that I'm holding, I'm still betting for these to go to the upside. And if holding myself to this 9:45 time frame or 10 o'clock time frame instead of a point stop loss, I still feel it as a valid opportunity to add an actual contract on this dip, of finding any area that's a good risk reward. Not like I'm trying to stop out of myself, but it's adding it onto the pile to say, my bet is still that there's going to be a dip and an opportunity to the upside here. And sure enough, lucked out again on that, of finding, not even picking near the bottom within one of these candles, buying within this area, and still having a few more points left to go beneath it as I was holding on to that contract. So taking on even more unrealized P&L to add to the overall account. I want to say scare factor. It's not like I actually wrote in my journal here, I was very, very focused and not involved in my emotions whatsoever. I was recognizing them a little bit, and that little bit of physical tensing up, and obviously just the realization and understanding of like, okay, this is big boy stuff. This isn't just playing around and fooling with one MES contract. This is actual money on the line, and it's not like I'm being irresponsible or just being foolish, but this is what I've consciously chosen to do, and here I am. Let's deal with this situation. So being aware of that and labeling it and working through those emotions, doing the breath work, intra-trade, and sticking to the game plan, not just getting so emotionally scared out and saying, oh, I want to stop at this candle, and oh, shoot, okay, it stopped me at the bottom, and then sure enough, it comes back later to do exactly what I want to see out of it. Not playing that game anymore, but sticking to what I've assigned to this and what it's proven it can do for the past little data there. So yeah, add another ES contract to give me like to 5. I'm playing with 5 here for this little strategy, and sure enough, it starts getting back above VWAP there with strength after so many times it was wicking out here, and I did cut it short a little bit of around as it was looking weak, and maybe here in this 945 candle of holding myself to that time frame too, that normally I'd like to be out actually before that 945. That's 945 is my cutoff, but in that 945 minute candle that, okay, the strength is coming there. If you don't hit my bid or my sell orders right now, I'm going to take you. So as I was still in the green on the 4 contracts still, and obviously within that other contract that I did add, I eventually just cut it short. I think either at 1 point or 1 point and a tick short, as I thought it was going to be a little bit weak off there, but sure enough, it did reach it in that candle, and then of course successively in 4 minutes later reach it even higher for that. But that was the high of the day for the morning session there, so that opportunity really was not sticking around for long, and that's what that entire strategy is. It's not trying to force or press my luck. It is just picking up those nickels, like I mentioned, with in front of the steamroller and just getting the heck out of the way as that steamroller is coming. So looked at with that. Now we're still playing those same session-wide strategies again. 1 MES short contract. I missed out again. I need to hold myself accountable to having those strategies, those automatic strategies, set all the time on my computer, because I turn them off at times because I think they might get funky at session close or with margin, whatever. Sometimes I just turn them off because I don't want to have that. When I'm not in front of the computer, I just don't want to have that liability of it randomly putting in a stop order by accident when it thinks I have a position or blah, 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 whatever mistakes that could be there potentially. But not being a part of these trades is definitely hindering my performance more, and I do not want to continue that strategy more and more, even if it comes with, sometimes it does end me up in a loss at times, because those are just the losing days, and sometimes I luck out by not being in it on that day and because of my own stupidity, and oh sweet, I missed out on a big loser day. But I need to be in this trade consistently if that's continually what I'm holding myself accountable for this automated strategy that way. But a lot of talking there for just simple trading on the day. And simple, I want to say simple, but it isn't simple. It's just a lot of growth in my trading of what happened in that little morning session. And I think it's trending a lot more just in overall market action of back to the realm of unmanipulated and just natural flow of what's going on, as that tick was showing in the morning session of, hey, we're kind of clinging around zero. It's not like anybody's swaying market action one way or another with huge amount of buying, huge amount of selling. Not like the ADD, the overall advanced decline line was. Same thing of holding around 0 too. So as we get closer to those 0 lines, it's just kind of free-for-all of wherever we want to go, and it's not so much a guessing of picking tops or establishing bottoms. It's just like, okay, when and where are more supply of buyers or sellers going to come in at this point, and judging it off of that, and maybe preemptively sizing yourself in for a move that way and guessing correctly. A lot of talking, a lot of guessing, even my assumptions of that, but that's just what I'm here for, is to continue to throw out hypotheses and see if they're true. I'm not going to be here. I'm not trying to be here to be right. I'm just trying, again, here to make money and run away as fast as possible as soon as I'm able to do that each and every single day, and not trying to force money when it's not there. It's not about making money every single day. It's just about, hey, is there opportunity there that I can easily recognize and see that I can be a part of? Hey, then let's absolutely do it and attack it with everything. But if it's not, then let's go read a book. Let's go to the gym. Let's go do something else. So I'm going to focus a lot on that more and more, especially in the summer months. But I sincerely thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you guys on the next one.